Hey, I wonder. There's the echo again. Rick, could you move
Yeah.
away?
Okay, I think we're live now. Yep, we're doing it.
Are you on?
Yeah, it should be. You can probably go to my channel now. We should be up. And I've got with me Snow White and Lady of the Woods. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. See? Echo.
Yeah.
They keep saying everything twice for some reason.
You can hear the echo now.
Yep.
We'll wait till people jump on the chat. Are y'all over in the chat now?
Yeah, Becky, Kimmy, and Pam.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
patient.
I'm not on any. I can't see the chat at all. I'm just on my phone.
Pam said hi, Snow.
Hi, Pam.
Yeah, I know echo. I mean, I know in New York we have an echo. We can't figure this out yet. Hey, Rick, guess what?
We're doing more practice, guys. Cut us some slack.
Rick,
Yes, ma'am.
when you walked away or you did something else, the echo went away.
I never walked away.
Did you turn around or do something else?
No.
Wonder what happened.
I don't know.
It was when you were setting up the live thing, so.
Hey, Sissy.
Are y'all muted on your live on the video?
Yep.
I'm not even on that, so.
Oh, of course, and the phone rings.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Do you hear an echo now?
Every time.
Yep.
I don't know, say something, D.
Something, D.
No, it's better.
But I hear an echo with you. Say something.
Hi.
Yep, see.
Yeah, I'm hearing it when I talk, too.
Are y'all still talking about the echo?
Echo.
Yeah.
Echo.
Is it echoing
Very
in?
distracting.
Is it echoing in the chat, you guys? I mean, can y'all hear it on the video? There are echoes. Yeah, I need to get a stick to them or something. Y'all need to poke your phones with a stick. Echo, New York Upstate says echo. Hi, CC Pam, New York Upstate, Kimmy, Sue, Ronnie, Christy, the same one, Becky, everybody. Cool. So there is only Snow echoes. I don't know. Well, we're gonna work through it. Next person says echo. I'm gonna take a stick to them. I knew that would go over good.
I owe you.
You'll never get even with me.
Yes, I will.
So, what's been going on with you all?
You talking to us?
Oh, really? That's nice. This is going great. So, yeah. Anything going on in your all's areas?
Not mine, definitely Angie's.
You ain't been back up to yours, have you?
Nope.
Oh, that sucks. You're
How
dying.
far away do you live from your spot, D?
2.5 hours, but the rain has been, we have flash flooding all the time right here, and that's what they've been calling for. We had 8 inches of rain the other day, and now it's pouring. They're calling for flash flooding again. And I got a phone call from Sandy that lives down there on the property, and she said, don't even bother. It's so flooded out on there, can't even get across the bridge.
Oh, wow.
So we have a low water bridge down there to get up to the property, and we can't even cross it. She hasn't been able to go to town in 4 days.
Ah.
Yeah,
How long has it
we've
been
been
since you've
having.
been out there?
It's been a while since I've been out there. I miss it. I miss them. I'm
Yeah.
going crazy.
I know. I told Jim I felt like I was going to implode over these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, when they're gone, I mean, when they're there, you're all excited and your adrenaline's pumping and everything. But as soon as they're gone, you're like, wham, you know. I mean, where are they? Come back. Mine don't ever leave though. Yours goes away for a while, but mine don't ever leave.
How do you know that?
I
You're
don't
not
know if
always
they
there.
actually.
Well, Sandy's up there, and
Huh?
they don't ever leave. Sandy lives up there, and they don't ever leave.
So they're there basically every night?
Every night.
Really?
Yep. I would honestly say that my RV is no more than 300 yards away from their sleeping area.
And who's up
That's
there?
why
One of your friends?
Sandy, she used to live here. She's a really good friend of mine. And when her husband passed away, she moved in with us. And then we bought the property together, and she decided to just pack up lock, stock, and barrel, put a shed up there. And she's been living up there now for a year and a half. And she texts me all the time with stuff that happens when I'm gone. But they know that she can't hear and she can't see, so they really mess with her a lot.
Really?
Oh.
So she lives up there full time?
Oh, yeah. She's been up there for a year and a half. She doesn't have any running water. I mean, she's roughing it. She bought a shed that she converted into a house.
I think I love her.
She's awesome. She's absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
But
that
she
sounds
scares
awesome.
me. Yeah, she scares me because she's older and she has a lot of medical problems. So I have a friend that goes and checks on her once in a while. But like I said, nobody can get in or out because of this flooding.
I have a question for you, Dee.
Yeah.
How do you know where their sleeping area is?
Well, when I first bought the property and I went out there, I took my camera, and whenever I got to this certain area, which was a little closer than the 300, yards away from my RV, but the camera kept shutting off. And I walked with 40 acres and never had that problem. But every time I went to that area, that's where the 5 trees were bent over in a circle, and there was a great big, tree in the center that had a bunch of bedded down area and rocks that were placed. You could tell they hadn't been there forever. Great big huge rocks, and it looked like a playground, and the ground looked like like an army slept there. I mean, it was pretty clear that they'd been living there for a long time. Well, when I finally got back there and my camera did work, a week and a half later when we went back, it was all tore up. So when I took that 1.5-mile hike up to the other property at the very edge of mine, then I saw some more of those bent over trees, and I promised them I would never go back there again. That's only about 300 yards from the back of my RV.
Oh.
So I won't go back there, and after I didn't go back that way, now I just go the other direction.
I wonder if all their sleeping areas look the same, or if they vary.
I don't know.
Do they
I really
always?
don't know.
Do you think they're always sleeping in the same spot?
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I really don't know. All I know is that, like I said, before I went to their area, that was the only spot that I had found that looked like that, because trust me, I went over the whole 40 acres, me and the kids and my husband. And Sandy, we walked the entire perimeter. Then we went to the 140 acres back in the Honobi Wildlife Management Area. So we basically walked that entire area, and that was the only area that I found that kind of structure. And like I said, every time I'd go close to that, my camera would shut off. But here, the rest of the property, it never shut off. So that's when I stopped going back there. I could be totally off base, but it just seems like, it makes sense. And then the next time I went out there and saw it destroyed, I apologized. And when I came across right on the corner of our property and the Hanobi Wildlife Management, when I saw those 5 trees bent over again, I said, I'm never coming back here again, promise, and I haven't been back. I stay away from there.
Mm.
Well, that's interesting.
It's just different.
Well, yeah, I mean, different parts of the country are different. Like Angie lives in a different place than I do. They're both in the Appalachian foothills, mountains. But there's differences between my place and hers too.
Oh yeah, and other people you talk to.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. But there's a lot of stuff that's exactly the same. That's what's interesting.
Oh, it's exactly the same with all of us. As I swear, even if they grow up, they're still juveniles.
Oh, they're jokers. That's for sure.
That's what's so fun.
Yeah, sometimes it is. It's not when they jump on the side of my RV on the stairs, because that scares the living crap. Can you imagine if a big enough one did it and knocked my RV over?
Oh, they've hit my house, and I swear it sounds like a truck hitting your house. It's so loud.
Okay, so be in an RV when that happens.
Right. I mean, yeah, I can imagine.
That's why Sarah broke down crying that night. That's why she was hysterical, because it scared her so bad. The whole RV moved.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I mean, it shakes my house. This is a well-built house, and like I said, it sounds like a truck. I mean, stuff will shake in this house whenever they smack it or whatever they do.
Yeah, they smack it.
But think about the strength they have. That's what I think they do. I think they're smacking it with their open palm or something. Like just from sitting outside before, and they used to hit the outhouse down here. That's what it sounded like. They would take an open. I mean, they're not using a rock or anything. It don't sound like, or a stick. That would make a different. It sounds like meaty flesh smacking the board or whatever. But, like a big boom. I don't know. It's loud.
Hey, Snow, did they ever tap on your windows?
What was that?
Did they ever tap on your windows?
Do they ever peck on my windows? I don't think so.
They've been in your window though, right? You got the markings from where didn't they open your screen up or something?
Oh yeah. On our bedroom window, they opened the screen, and then between the screen and the window is like a little ledge that has dirt on it, and they took their finger and made 3 arches in it.
Yeah, it looked like the symbol from the Monster Energy drink or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
That was freaky. And they tried to shut the screen back down, which they did pretty good, but the one side was up just a little bit. So
I like
Right.
I like what Dee said a while ago about them being childish, though, and that's exactly what they're like big kids, ain't they?
Yeah.
Playing jokes, and then they get mad sometimes and throw a temper tantrum.
That's why people believe that they're part ape, is because of the fact that that's what an ape does. When they can be totally gentle and hug on kittens, and then you do something wrong and they'll throw your butt up against a wall. I mean, that's exactly why people consider them apish, and the noises they make, the type of noises they make. So whether they are or they aren't, I really don't believe they're part ape, no more than anybody else. But some of the things are similar.
Well, I mean, some humans do that. Some humans do that. Some humans throw tantrums like that, and it's usually, mentally challenged or something. You know what I'm saying? People that they throw tantrums like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're, I'm not saying they're stupid, because they're far from stupid. I'm talking about the boogers. But they're like a primitive mind, if that makes any sense. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You take a child, and you put a child in the woods, that child's not going to be raised the way you raise it at home inside a house. It's going to be raised out there if it survived. But let's just say hypothetically that child could survive out there, as a toddler. By the time that kid got old enough, he wouldn't know any English language. He would know more animal noises. He would be able to tell you when the seasons hit and what foods to eat, because someone out there would have taught him. So if you take a look at these beings, whatever they are, and they have spent these hundreds of years supposedly on this earth, and they have watched people from a distance, but yet they stay secluded and out there in the woods. You can't tell me they don't know it like the back of their hands, and they can tell when a storm's coming, or they're not in awe of an airplane like a child would be. But I don't think that their minds ever get past a certain point, because, and the reason I think that is because of the fact that no matter what encounter I've listened to, not the ones personally and the ones personally, but specifically not the ones I've listened to, people say they're either 100% very hostile, or they look and act like they're going to be hostile, or they do something very teenagerish, let's just say prankster type stuff. Very seldom do you hear where a Bigfoot walks over and gently hands a cookie to a baby. You know what I'm saying? It's just, everything seems to be like they're stuck in that mental frame.
Right.
That age bracket, where yes, they can, a teenager, although they don't act it, the teenager can decipher the difference between, good and bad, or right or wrong, but that doesn't necessarily mean they always do it, and they throw temper tantrums when they don't get what they want.
Right.
So maybe these things are, that's as far as they go. Maybe that's as high a level as they can possibly go, mentally. Now, they might have other things, and other things that they're more advanced than we are, like self-sustainment out there in the wilderness. But I think mentally, I don't think that they are, people say they think that they're as smart as humans, if not smarter. I just think they're more adapt to their surroundings than we could ever be, even in ours today. A lot of us still can't adapt to our environments in the world we live in. So these guys will totally adapt to their surroundings and their conditions and who they are and what they are, something that we'll never experience in our lifetime.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That sounds dead on to me, Dee. Sounds like somebody's put a lot of thought into that. You're right.
Yeah, I've watched them the times I've been up there. I got to spend 10 days up there once, and the mentality of these things, even the big ones, the look that the alpha gave me out the window that day was not he didn't squat down and look me in the eye and try to verbally talk to me, which if he was an adult, as big as he was, and he knew he was the alpha, and if he had that much of a cognitive brain, he would have had some kind of conversation or growled me or something. But he didn't. What he did was he sat there and he just watched me. The intent look on his face was more along the lines of, I know who you are, I'm watching you, that's all I got to say. You feel what I'm saying to you, and he walks off. No more, you know what I'm saying? So I believe that's just been my opinion. And then Boo, like, the sentry that's there during the day. He stays just enough in the shadows. He'll do something once in a while, like throw a little pebble when no one's paying attention. The kids are playing, I'm watching the kids. He'll throw a little pebble, and I'll smile, and then he'll freak out. He'll shake a tree or something like that because I caught him. They're like big kids.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I tried to say this to people. Stop going out there and trying to irritate these things, because you have no idea what kind of mood they're in at the time. All you want to do for everybody, just go get yourself a bunch of teenagers and spend a year with them. You'll come out of there, if you come out of there, in a
Hang on, Dave. What's all that noise?
I don't know.
Angie, are you bouncing your phone off the wall?
No.
What's all that noise?
Sounds like someone's moving around.
Somebody's doing a lot of fiddling.
Not me. I'm sitting here.
Yeah, I walked inside. Maybe it's...
What in the heck was all that?
Is it gone?
Yeah, stop now. Was you moving?
Okay.
Yeah, somebody was doing something.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Dee, that sounds, that's right on. They can hold grudges. Like whenever I took the dog food away from him, oh, that made him mad.
Yeah, when people yell at me for the when people yell at me for the apples, I tell them, I said, look, in the beginning, I told them these are not for you. These are for the horses. And they have seen me put the apples in front of the horses. So if they decide to take them when I'm gone, I'm not feeding them. Get my point?
Yeah.
So I don't go out there and say, oh, these are for you. You know, I'm not doing that. But they have watched me feed the horses. And so when I put them in the trees, I said, now these aren't for you, these are for the horses. And I believe that they understand that. I don't have that issue. You know, I would never leave food for them. I don't, if I was going to leave food for them, I don't think I'd ever move up there, you know?
No, well, see, I had that issue before I knew what was going on with the dog food thing. And then, I mean, I'm totally anti-feed. I'm very careful with with any type of food that like deer corn and all that. I mean, I've got to keep everything put up. Just because, I mean, they got downright rude whenever that dog food was took away from them. I put the camera. Huh?
Was that close to the time? Was that close to the time when they came and knocked on your window and you ran out after them?
Well, I had put it back out. I think about that time is whenever I went. I went somewhere. Might have been down to Gatlinburg, and I let the dog food out so my uncle could feed them. Feed my not the boogers, feed my dogs. And then whenever I got back, I locked it back up. But yeah, that's about that same time. And plus, I had my game cameras down then too. I took the game cameras down because there's just, I don't know, it's something about game cameras. I think it's the flash on them because I've got motion sensors out there that use the same infrared technology that a game camera does, but they don't do that flash like whenever it takes a picture flash. I don't think they trust the flash. They know something's going on.
There are some of them there. Whoa.
What?
That was loud. There were some of those cameras out there that do not have those flash.
Yeah, they make some. The black flash, but you know, we don't know what kind of vision these guys have.
I think it's a click noise. I think it's got to make some kind of noise.
Oh yeah, they do make. Well, I mean, even if you put a game camera out, a deer will look at it whenever it takes a picture, or a coyote or anything. They can hear it. Right. You know, their hearing has to be a lot better than ours. All their senses do for them to make a living out there surviving in the woods. But yeah, they don't like to be tricked. And you know, whenever I first put my camera out there on my dog food, whenever I noticed it was all missing, I put the camera inside of the dog food bin. That way, you know, they open up the lid to get the dog food out, and then bam, I got a picture of one. You know, I was going to trick them. Yeah, that went over real good. I did not trick them. They got very mad, started smacking the house, screaming at me, just raising all kinds of heck. And they don't, you know, this before, I think now I've got more of a respectful relationship with them. You know, I respect them. They tend to respect me. But, yeah, but, you know, well, I don't think they like to be tricked, do they, Angie?
No, they don't.
And that's, you know, that's what people don't understand. I mean, I appreciate everybody's comments and stuff, but it's a slow process at best.
Oh,
and whenever you change something, like I know Angie had some problems here recently with a camera. If she wants to talk about it, that's fine. But they don't like changes, and they don't like to be tricked. I mean, it takes a long time to build a relationship with them.
There's a couple more things they don't like. Uh-oh, I'm echoing.
You sound fine.
They do not, yeah, they do not, and this is my area now, they do not like it when I touch their stuff. If I go into their blinds, they get mad. If I move their trees that they knock over, they get mad. Right. They don't like, they have that stuff up there for a reason, and I keep trying to tell, well, my grandkids and stuff, don't touch that stuff because they did it for a reason. So I stay away from the things that they have made. The only thing I've touched, which they moved, was, remember I said that I put that little A shape, it's a glyph type, I guess, but that little A shape on the trail.
Yeah.
I put it on the trail. When I came back the following week, they had picked it up and put it identically to how I made it, but facing another direction.
Well, see, and that's a respect thing. And I know Angie does that too, right, Angie? You don't mess with her structures. Uh-oh.
That's right. I was muted, so trying not to. But yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I try to be really careful about that.
Right. That's one thing. I try to be careful. I noticed you've tried to be careful with them. And you said it in your videos too. But I like to really, on structures, I like to really look at them and try to figure out if this could be natural or if it's being manipulated by hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that drives me nuts when people like take them apart and move stuff around. And I just think that's so disrespectful.
Right. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've done that before too. I try not to, but you know, sometimes I'll put something on their structure just to see if it gets moved, and it has. Like the deer skull I found today. I found actually 2 deer skulls today, and which reminds me, I'm going to try something. Are y'all watching the video live on YouTube?
Yeah, I just turned my computer on, so.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play this one video. I ain't going to do the volume up on it or anything, but I'm going to play these videos. I'll skip around because I'll probably load these up later. But I'm going to play the videos to show y'all what I found today. And it was interesting. Now that I thought about it, I think it was 3 different keels. But what it's showing now is like the backbone and the hips and part of the leg bone. And that was fresh. It still had like, I'd say that's no more than a week old right there. The one that's showing now. And I know y'all's probably on delay.
Yeah.
But, and then it goes from that. We'll see how hang on, let me pause this. Well, it goes from the ribs right there are gnawed off. You know, predators will do that. But check this out. And this has to be from a different deer. Over here is a pile of ribs. Just a pile of ribs. Like the whole ribs in one place. And that was away from the other one. All right. You go from that, and then I'm walking around looking. And I see something white down in this holler. Let me get to it. Right in here where my mouse is, I can see something white. And you know me, if I see something, I go check it out, right? So, and that's in a separate video. Let me see if I can find it real quick. That ain't it. But I went down to check it out. Oh, it's on up here. And I found the skull. That's me walking down the holler right here. And see how there's a little ravine. There's a rock on the ground that wasn't there very long. The leaves underneath of it are still pretty fresh. And then right there is a bunch of blood on the ground. So that's another one that's had to be within the last 24 hours. And then the skull I found today was, it's all bleached out. It's probably been there a few months. So I think this is their prep room. This is their kill room or something. I think there's a big spot in behind the dish line too where one had laid. And I think Brain's one with a rock right there. I should have checked the trees, but I forgot. I was running out of time too. But there on the screen, you can see where something had laid there. And this is all fresh. Something had laid right there. On the other side, that's like a little stream or something going down. There's a mound there, like a blind. So that's what I think happened. I think it was 3 different kills that I found today. 3 different deer.
That's really cool.
Did you see? That's pretty neat, ain't it? But that's what I found today. Then I found some other stuff, but I'll put it out on the videos later. I found another skull that I had placed before. I think I got pictures of it. this skull right here, this is how I found it today. And I don't even know if this is the same stump that I left it on. Because there it is on that stump. And before I didn't have it down like that. I had it sitting up like this on the stump. Then it was moved down. And you can see the leaves underneath it's fresh too. Like it's been recently moved. And then I don't know if you remember this one, Angie, or not. But that holler I found the... Did I lose somebody?
Rick?
Yeah. I don't know who that is.
Hello?
Is somebody on the video?
Hello?
Angie. Uh-oh. I think I've lost him.
I'm here.
Are you there? Are you there, Dee?
I am. Angie, where are you?
She should be on there.
Can you hear me?
There you are. There she is.
All right. I think somebody else tried to join in. Can they do that on here? Because we're in that other
Yes,
chat
they
group.
can.
I probably should have made a new one for this, but there's too many groups already. But anyway, that's what I found today. It was a pretty fun day.
It looks pretty cool. Okay. Where's Angie?
I don't know.
Angie disappeared.
I'm sending a message to that group.
Okay.
Maybe Angie will come. Maybe she'll get back.
There's Angie.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You dropped off. Yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
Rick, did I mess things up really bad?
What is it?
Huh?
What is it?
I said, did I mess things up really bad?
I don't know. If you do, that's perfectly normal for my videos.
I tried to get on my computer so maybe it would quit the echoing, but apparently that didn't work.
I don't hear echo, and I don't think anybody in the video. I believe it's just through your all's phone or whatever you're using.
No, they said they heard it in the beginning.
Well, I think one person did, but I don't know. You can ask something, you get two different answers all the time. Where I'm at, do y'all hear that? No, yes, no, yes. But I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta turn the volume up. But yeah, it was a pretty good day today.
I can't wait to go back.
Yep. So Angie, I know you just wanted to ask about owls or something.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about owls, and I hope you guys do. I thought you do, at least, Rick. But I've been hearing a new owl sound here, and it sounds more like a barred owl than what they usually do. My Bigfoots make a owl sound that's not. I mean, I know that's them, but this new one I'm not sure about. And tonight, I usually hear it on the east side of the property. Tonight, I was hearing it on the west side. I was just wondering, do owls switch? I mean, would they go that far away to just move around, or what?
Well, right now in our area, and I've been looking into this because, I haven't heard my owls in a while. But in our area right now is breeding season for the barred owls. And yeah, so they're very vocal right now. So it very well could be an owl. But like I've said before, a real owl's got that trailing at the end of it. So, I mean, you could tell a difference.
Well, I was wondering, like, if they have a nest or something.
Well, like I said, right now
that works good.
Go ahead.
Would they move that far away? I mean, that's like, at least 600 yards apart, at least. I mean, it's from one edge of the woods to the other, you know, like.
What you can do, Angie, is you can put your recorder out and capture those, and then go online and check out the mating sounds. Oh, great.
Well, yeah, I have. I mean, but still not sure.
At the end of their calls,
the one thing
is a trail. Hang on, I'm going to bring it up real quick. And this is a website I always use. It's a very good website. I've showed this before.
Dang it. Good thing I switched to my phone.
What was that?
My computer just shut itself down.
Mine does that. Or somebody calls.
What happened?
It said system exception error and just shut itself down.
All right, y'all listen to this. I think this is a good one. Actually, that's not a very good one. I don't know what that guy's doing.
I can't hear anything.
Really? Y'all can hear that?
No. Just remember, our computer's muted.
That's not a good one either. Hear that at the very end of that, which I think I turned my speaker down. At the very end of that, you can hear it. They're like a booger. Whenever they do them, they don't have this same end to them. They got a different end. It's like they cut off the end. The booger does.
Yeah.
Hear that? At the end. I don't think boogers do that. But,
no, theirs are more like a woo.
Yeah. And do you have a lot of screech owls too?
Yeah, they do more of that whoop, but not with the P on the end of it, but like more like that woo. They do that instead of the, the way an owl does, especially a barred owl.
Yeah, they sound just like an owl, but they cut that end part off, the trailing end part. Yeah, they cut that part off.
Right, it sounds more like a whoop at the end than it does an owl. That's how I hear it out here.
Well, a mimic that they do that they've been doing for a long time here doesn't have that, and you can just tell.
Yeah.
This new one, I mean, sometimes it sounds like a real one, and sometimes it doesn't, so I'm not sure.
Put your audio recorder out and compare them.
Yeah, I did.
Well, right now is mating season for the barred owls. They're like one of the only birds that started in the wintertime. It's pretty interesting.
Is it weird that I've never seen one?
That you've never seen the owl? Here. Well, I mean, they're a night creature, so unless you can see real good in the dark. I mean, I've seen them here. Like, especially if you drive down the road at night, like around here, they'll be sitting on the side of the road waiting on a mouse or something to go across the road. So I've seen them. I've seen them around here, but I mean, you can just tell a difference in the calls. It takes some getting used to. And I'm not, every owl noise is not a booger, but every owl noise is not an owl, in my opinion. I mean, it just sounds like, if the owl sounds like it weighs 1,000 pounds, it's probably a booger.
Well, that one that I'm not sure about, the new one, the new call, I've heard that before it got dark.
Which, the one that on your last video?
Yeah, I've been hearing it
Right.
since then too. So.
Yeah, but right now is the mating season for them, and I think they pair up for life or whatever. They nest, and I think they hatch out in maybe late March or April in our area. But yeah, they're pretty vocal right now. But the thing is I mean, have you ever heard like the monkey chatter from the owls? Where they just go crazy.
I've got some of that recorded.
Yeah, I thought you did. But that's pretty wild. A lot of people mistake that for boogers too.
Yeah.
But I don't see why a booger couldn't make that noise. That's my problem with audio, man. If you don't see what's making it, it's really hard to make a call on it.
Yeah, there's video out there, and this and I can't remember which researcher's video it is, but when they're standing out there and it's pretty dark, and all of a sudden you hear this ungodly noise, and they spin around, they're like, "What the heck was that?" Well, that actually was an owl mating call, and it sounded horrible on that audio recorder. Yeah. I mean, on his, it sounded twice as big as the ones we hear out here, which are pretty darn big. The barred owls out here are huge, but I knew exactly what it was, and I even wrote that on his statements, and someone called me an idiot, but I hear it out here.
Was the guy's name Don or something?
I don't remember the guy's name. I was just going through a bunch of videos, and like I said, it was at twilight, just about, well, it was almost completely dark, and he was walking through the woods, and he spun around. He goes, and you heard that noise, and I put LOL. I said, that's a barred owl mating call, and they called me an idiot. But so I sent the link, and I put the link in there to that noise, and of course I didn't get any response back. But that's exactly. I mean, I hear it out here, and I know.
Yeah, I've got it recorded.
Because, huh?
I've got it recorded here.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got it in a few videos.
There's some pretty horrendous noise.
Yeah, they make all kinds of noises.
That actually, if you were actually sitting out there and seeing them do it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize they made that kind of noise. Even a fox, good grief, can they scream?
Yeah, really weird noises.
If you don't know what it is, you spin around going. That's why I kind of giggle. People that aren't used to being in the woods, they go out in the woods, and I'm not calling them, dumb or anything. It's just I was totally ignorant, of the sounds of the woods until I started going out in them. I mean, I grew up in the city, spent a lot of times down the valley, which is just a metro park, but I didn't have some of the critters down there that we have here in Arkansas and Oklahoma, and I had to learn, and I would say, what the heck was that noise? And they say, oh, that's this or oh, that's that, and when I saw them, I was like, oh, and I could relate. So then I could tell somebody, yeah, I know what that sounds like. But
what makes it so hard whenever you've got them living on your property, the Bigfoots? And they're really good at mimicking. You're always questioning, is that the real thing or is that the mimicking one?
Yeah.
So.
Well, are they back to the property now?
Yeah, I don't know that they ever left. I'm not sure, but today some things happened, so I'm feeling a whole lot better now.
They forgave you. I told you they would.
She's been a little nervous.
I can imagine. That's why I said, when all of us were talking, I don't change. It's not that I'm being mean to anybody. It's just that when you have this kind of, I call, for lack of better words, relationship, and I'm not saying I go out and eat dinner with them, but when you have this kind of interaction and you're out there with these things all the time, if someone says, why don't you try this or why don't you try that, that can change the whole demeanor of everything that goes on because they're used to the way you did it before you asked for help.
Exactly.
So they know how you're going to respond to whatever it is that they do, and if you change that, they're not going to be too happy about it. And I just can't. People ask me all the time, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And one of the reasons why I don't put videos up all the time is because, what are you going to do? Tell someone to be quiet? It's your area? Then you have to be you have to be diligent in what you're doing in order to get the responses that you're used to getting. If you want to change your responses, then go ahead and change them to see if you get a response that you're looking for, not by somebody else's opinion that doesn't have the same situation you do. Because even though, Snow, you have the interaction like you do, and there are similarities between yours and Rick's and mine and yours, they are not 100% different. What I can do with mine, maybe Rick wouldn't do with his. You see what I'm saying?
So they're all similar but different.
Right. People are good-hearted, and they say, you know, look, if you're afraid, why don't you try this? And the common thing is to say, okay, if you're having problems with yours, everybody jumps on the bandwagon and says, put up cameras, put up lights. Well, that's all right, and that's true. It's good. That's good advice, really good advice. But when it comes down to the one-on-one reactions and interactions with these things, nobody can tell you. You have to learn by your own mistakes, and then it's up to you whether you want to share them with the world or keep them to yourselves, because what might work in your area can get somebody else in trouble. That's what I was trying. That's what I was trying so diligently on my last conversation with Vic Cundiff, and I told when I was on that radio show, I told them, I said, look, just because it's happening this way with me does not mean it's going to happen if somebody else goes out into an area that's not their home and decides to try this with these things. You might end up with a really bad, you know, face-to-face encounter because you just, you know, you stepped over a line that is invisible to us, very visible to them. They don't care if you're they're bringing them apples. You crossed over their invisible line and you're in trouble. So,
well, that's true. I mean, if somebody goes out to try to do what I do, they should get to know that group of Bigfoots because, like you said, they're all different. So you have to test the limits and see what their personalities are like.
Right, and I think it's pretty simple. I think it's pretty simple that if you go out into an area that you're thinking that might be a good place to research, and you see a lot of X's and stuff, and you get growled at and rocks thrown at you, that doesn't sound to me like it's a good place unless you want that adrenaline high or you want to get chased. You know, that's not a good area. But if I really wanted, because that area was close to home and I hadn't heard any bad encounters, if I really wanted to be in that area for a long period of time, what I would do is start taking things out there and gifting and getting back in my truck and leaving, not staying. I would just go out, leave something, come back, and if I kept coming back and was greeted with the same rocks and growls, I would stop going to that area, period. I mean, how many times are you going to go walk into someone's house and them tell you to get out before you get shot, you know?
Not me. I'm gonna go back up Stinky Holler, and I will continue to go back up Stinky Holler, and I'll tell you why. If you get too close to them, they'll let you know. But I'll always back off whenever that happens, all right? But I mean, I do want I've got to see one, all right? I want to have a good look at one. And I'm hoping one of these days they'll step out and let me see them. I mean, they've been so close to me with rocks flying. You know, if they wanted to, like that deer I showed a while ago, all right? If they want to kill a deer with a rock, they can kill me with a rock. Just as easy, probably easier. But they're not, you know, I had one hit the top of the side-by-side and it came inside the side-by-side. All right, you know, that was probably on purpose. They was trying to bounce it off the top or whatever. And it wasn't hard thrown. It didn't hit real hard or anything. And the rocks that go by me usually sail over my head or whatever. But they're just saying, man, you're getting a bit close. And then, you know, I know to back off. Or a tree will fall. And they use misdirection a lot, too. Like they'll push down a tree if you're getting too close and you turn around to see what that was and go that way. And I've had that happen. I think they get a kick out of it. I don't even know if they're trying to run me off. I think they're just getting a kick out of it. They're counting coup or whatever. Yeah, they're counting coup or whatever.
So see, that's the difference. See, on Angie's, she went outside and put that phone out there, and I think that was that day they threw pebbles on your porch.
Yeah,
exactly.
How many times do they do that?
They don't. Well, up until just recently, they haven't done it that much that I've noticed.
Okay, and because you've changed things, right?
could be.
Well, here's
see, that's what I'm saying. I don't think, you know, honestly, in my opinion, Rick, when you go up there and they start tossing little pebbles, I think they're playing with you differently than they were doing their snow and
I
differently
do
than
too.
doing with me.
All right, here's what I think about her putting her phone out or her recorder out. The same thing here. They don't seem to mind the phones being put out because, you know, I put it out where it can be seen. You know, you're not being sneaky about it. You're just putting your phone out there, all right? Or a recorder. It's wide open there. They can see it. Plus, it ain't got nothing flashing on it. You know, they'll test it by throwing the rocks or whatever to see if it'll flash, or they might even be trying to poke it with a stick or something. I mean, we've heard some wild stuff here at night whenever I go live. And I do think they're getting close, but I don't, you know, if you're trying to trick them, man, I don't think that's going to go over well with them.
No.
Like I said, they kind of, you know, they're like kids. I mean, you know, a kid will get mad at you if you try to trick them or whatever. I make my nieces and nephews mad at me. At least once a trip, I go to see them, tricking them, you know, being rotten. You know how I am. But yeah, the boogers. I mean, I don't think for some reason, they don't seem to mind the phones being left out or recorders being left out. Because, like, Angie's left her recorder out and gets all kinds of exciting stuff on her recorder whenever she leaves it out. And it's right out in the open. She's not hiding it. I think it's when you try to trick them that they kind of get mad about that.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
What is it, Dee?
I said I moved mine from the tree to the back of my truck, and they threw pebbles at it until it fell between the bed of my truck and the cab.
Right.
So they didn't like just that change, but they knew what a recorder was, and they don't have a problem with the recorder. They go up to the recorder and blow in it. You know, they tap on it. They don't care. And then my camera that I put out that night when they were, you know, that night I had the face-to-face, they shut the camera off 5 minutes after I put it outside, and I had less than 5 minutes worth of recording before that thing shut.
But did you try to hide it or anything?
No, I set it right on the steps.
Right out in the open. Right out in the open. And see, that camera doesn't have a flash like a game cam. That's what I'm thinking on these game cams. They used to make them, they probably still do, where they take a picture every, 10 seconds or 10 minutes. You can set them on how often they take it's called time lapse or whatever. And those might work better. You know what I'm saying? But, I think they're smart enough not to get in front of them. I swear I do. They might come up from behind them or whatever. They're not stupid for sure. But Angie, whenever you put yours out, your camera or your recorder, I mean, you had action then, right?
Yeah. The night that I went live.
Yeah.
And I left my phone outside.
They didn't seem to mind that, did they?
No.
They don't care if she walks around with her camera.
Right. I mean, it's just something that they're used to.
Yeah, I can take it in the woods with me. They don't seem to mind that either.
Right. Yep. But I mean, they're I don't know, they're smarter. They know if somebody's going to strap something to a tree and leave it out there, then that something's going on with that, and they might throw rocks at it or poke it with a stick or something to see what kind of reaction they're going to get out of it. You know what I mean? And whenever they put something in front of it, and all of a sudden a big flash of light comes out, then they know something's up there. In my opinion.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, because I know people that go out there with their flashlights, and that's the craziest thing you can do. They hate those bright lights.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people will tell me all the time. We can't see nothing. Turn on the lights and da-da-da. I mean, if you turn on the lights, you're not going to get anything. You might get lucky and get some eye shine or something like that, but if you get a bright light out there, then they ain't going to come out for that. I mean, imagine you first wake up in the morning and somebody turns on the light. I mean, that blinds you, hurt your eyes when you open your eyes. And that's, they've got bigger eyes and they're used to seeing at night. I mean, if you're a nocturnal critter, you want to keep your night vision.
I don't think they're all nocturnal.
Well, I'm just saying they're out at night. Their pupils are dilated. So if they're out at night, then, they can see fine during the day, I'm sure, too. But
yeah.
I think they see really good at night.
I think in areas where there's not a lot of people, I think those groups, clans, tend to be out more during the day because they don't have to worry about people. But the areas where there's a lot of people, they have to come out at night because they're smart enough.
Well, I think they put out watchers.
During the day.
I think they put out watchers, like whenever they're in this area. Like you was talking earlier, they're all the time there at your property. Well, they're not all the time here. At least I don't think they are. But whenever they are in the area, they've got a watcher on my house. I guarantee that. I've come home too many times to a whistle or a knock only to have a return up the holler or up on the top of the mountain or something like, hey, he's home. And the other one's like, yep. You know what I mean? You'll hear a whistle, then a knock up on top of the holler or up the holler or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When they're in an area. I mean,
hey, Angie, do you ever make any noises out there? Do you ever tree knock or whistle or anything?
Yeah, I mean, occasionally. Don't do it all the time.
Do they
tree knocking, I rarely do. Say that.
Do they answer you?
No.
Did they at the beginning? Like whenever I first started this, whenever I first figured out what was going on, you know, I did the wood knocks, and everybody's all the time saying doing wood knocks, and they don't do no good here anymore. They know it's me knocking. But whenever it first started, I would do the knocks, and I would get returns about every time. And that's, you know, way before I started YouTube or anything like that. Like now my vocals, I can't hardly get a response out of them. That's why I try new ones all the time. But, you know, here lately I can't get no response.
Like tonight, I saw that they came to the back porch, and I walked around the side of the house, you know, in the woods down by Creepy Valley and all that's on that side. I got this one spot, and that owl sound they make came from down there. And I said, hey, guy, you know, like, hey. And then they did it again. So, I mean, that's the kind of things that happen here.
Now, you get more responses being yourself than you do knocking or doing a holler or anything, right? I mean, you can pretty much talk to them or go about your regular routine, and you'll get activity then. You'll get a vocal or a knock or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's just a different relationship. Like if I was to go like to the lake right now and I did a holler, I might be able to get a response if they're in that area. Like I did last week or whenever it was I'd done that. You know what I'm saying? But here they're just used to it.
Now, do you think the ones at that lake are different?
Yeah, I
think.
The
ones that you're,
Yeah, actually, I think the ones that I found here, driving to that spot's probably 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You know, I've got to cross 3 mountains to get to that place. And then, you know, drive up different hollers. It's just all mountains and curves and hollers driving here. There ain't no 4 lanes.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I wonder if the ones here go to the lake. Our lake's only a couple miles away, so I figure they probably do.
Well, like I've said before, I've heard train whistles up here. And there's, you know, the closest tracks to me are 25 miles away as the crow flies. So, you know, I'm sure they do travel out. I've heard train whistles. There's no tracks around here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you love that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that the boogers here don't travel. And actually, I think there might be more than one playing around me. Just from, you know, some of the different... I think certain structures are markers for airplane territory, like perhaps the X's or the twist, especially. I think the twist, just, you know, something, a big tree up in the fork of another tree that's, you know, just a big piece of a tree or whatever, something that shows strength that, hey, there's a big male here and it's warning off other ones. I think that might be boundary lines.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I could be totally wrong, but it's just from what I've went out and I've observed. And, you know, a lot of people say that, you know, and I agree there's no experts in it, but you can learn different things. I mean, if you can retain a little bit of information, you can learn different things. I mean, I've learned.
Especially if you don't get mad because somebody else is different.
Right.
If you can take what somebody else says happens on their property or area, even if they drive, you know, 2.5 hours to get to that property, you know, every single weekend or during the summer or something, if you can take what they say and you're watching their videos and you're listening to them have conversation and you think, and you say to yourself, well, that's where they're having on their property. You say, oh, no, that can't happen on mine, or that doesn't happen on mine, so they must be lying. Yeah, I wish the Bigfoot community would understand that. I mean, because they're quick to, everybody in the Bigfoot community is quick to say these things aren't all the same, but yet they expect them to do the same things, and that's where I think that a lot of people have problems. Just because your clan does one thing in your area doesn't mean that mine's going to do it the same. I know we regurgitated that subject many times, but regardless, it's the arguments between the two saying this can't happen, they must be lying, they must be hoaxing. Well, all you got to do is go out there and stay, not for a weekend, but go out and stay for a month in their property and find out if that happens or doesn't happen. And the other thing is, if you do get somebody out for a weekend, those boogers might not want to be anywhere near that new person. I've had that happen myself.
Oh, yeah.
So where they go ahead and call me a liar and then find out, right before they leave that I wasn't lying and they had no words. They don't know what to say. So it's not going to happen the same way. That it happens when, if we all decide to go to Snows to camp out. All right, she might not see her clan or her guy out there or her, whatever is out there with her, boy, girl, whatever it is. She might not see hers for a month because we were out there tenting. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
And so I understand that, all of us think kind of like the same. But I think that's where a lot of the arguments come up, and where people call other people hoaxers. Unless it's just pure, look at it, you can tell it's a guy in a suit, or the trees have been busting off all 3.5, 4 foot tall, and you see none up in the air, you see no other signs, you don't see any footprints, you don't see anything else, you don't hear anything, there's no audio, and the researchers come and go, they don't have nothing else on their channel. Well, anybody can call that person a hoaxer. But how many videos do I have on my channel? So am I a hoaxer? And how many times on my channel do I say, oh, look at the Bigfoot? We all do it our own way.
Exactly.
Just support each other through this, because this
it's
is a
like
hard subject.
when the group came down last spring, I think April, with the BFRO. They had a pretty big group, and they were staying down there at the lake that's close by, right? Well, half the group came up one night because I was having activity, but the vocals were coming from over at Uncle Bob's. Well, they came here, the first group that came here, and we didn't have hardly anything happen. The second night, and that's, I think, the people with the Squatch team on YouTube, we went over on Uncle Bob's property because that's where I had heard them from. And I thought, well, we'll try it over there. Well, we had a pretty wild night that night. I mean, I got to see one through night vision. Another guy had night vision. He seen it too. I mean, we was being followed. It was just wild. I mean, it was one of the best experiences I ever had. And it didn't slow my bunch down none. And it could be because, there's coon hunters around here, and they're used to people being out at night and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? But I was blessed, and the people that came down there, which, Jack, the guy that was the lead guy of the group that came down, was one of the first people that, I got to talk to about all this. And, people talk smack about the BFRO, but there are some good people in there. And I know Angie knows some good people in there. But, he picked some good people to come down. And, man, I was blessed in that those people, I've still got them on here. We talk back and forth. And, I mean, they was good people. But
Right.
I would say anybody, just be careful who you include, because there are people that would, like I said, I think it's about respect with these things, and I think that they know a respectable person from somebody that might try to do them harm or just, not a very good person. I mean, I think they can sense that, a dog can sense it. Some humans can. So there's that. That's just my thoughts. I could be totally wrong. As usual.
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with respect too.
Yep, me three.
I think that's 99% of it's a respect thing. There's boundaries. They respect the boundaries. You respect the boundaries. Whenever this first started happening here, I had no earthly idea what was going on, right? And like I said, I got in a couple of groups. I got some bad information about feeding them and this and that, and but then I got up with the Jack guy, and he told me about what to do and how to get him to stop, get my dog food and all that, and it all worked. And, You know, the guy, he's welcome here anytime he wants to come up, and he is very knowledgeable. I mean, the BFRO is not what you see on TV. It's not Finding Bigfoot.
Right. Do you know how many people I know that can't not stand Robert Dodson? They talk smack about him. They call him a hoaxer. They hate him. They say he's rude. He's this. He's that. But do you know how long that man's been boogering?
He's been in for a
long time. I
respect him. I mean, yeah, I've got nothing but respect for the man, and I don't think he's a hoaxer at all. But like we was talking, everybody does it different, and just because he's different doesn't make him any better or any worse than anybody else. You know what I mean? He's doing his thing. He's getting results. Hey, good, go for it, dude. Good job.
Yep, that's his way, and he just jumps all over everybody. And I told him, I said, just ignore them and just do what you're doing, because I like what you're doing. And man, that man's got some incredible hearing. But you know, I've been out to his property before. I want to go out to his property again. You know, but I believe now that I've watched some of his videos that he's got some of the other cryptids up there, and of course I'm not too happy about that. But I know one thing. You know, he's been doing this a long time. He has learned so much since the beginning, when I first started watching his videos, and he's changed a lot. But he has gotten very, very standoffish to the community because he's gotten so much slack, so much grief from everybody.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was getting ready to say. The bigger you get, the more views you get, the more trolls that get attracted. And it's not everybody. You know, it's only maybe 10% of the people, basically, right? I mean, I've got a video that I turned the comments off on it because I got tired of people just coming on being totally ugly and speaking their mind about something they don't know nothing about. You know, they'll watch one thing and say, well, this and that. You know what I mean? And it's silly. That's the people I would like to camp out my yard for a week. Then tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope the boogers go wild.
And then tell me.
Right.
Have a face-to-face and tell me how you feel, because I don't care. You know, I just don't. I don't have the time, nor do I have the patience. I'm a very patient person, but I have no patience for people who just want to talk ugly all the time because they just want to start trouble. And there's many of them here in this community, and so their idea is to disprove or just to cause conflict. So I ignore them. I've deleted my comments on a lot of channels because of the nastiness that attributed from it, and I just don't have the time for it, patience, and I won't put up any videos, except for, and I'll tell my people about the videos, but unsubscribe to me. If you don't like me as a person, so be it. Don't talk nasty, don't be mean, just unsubscribe.
Right, yeah, don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's that simple. Don't watch. But, I mean, a lot of them ain't even in the community. They just, I don't know what. Some people are just trolls, I guess. They don't, they don't believe, and they come over just to poke fun. They're not even in the Bigfoot community. But,
yeah.
I mean, you get that too. But, yeah, the worst ones are the ones, the fellow researchers or whatever, that want to poke and gouge and whatever. It's just crazy.
Oh, it makes my blood boil when someone goes after Angie. Someone says Snow's doing this. Snow. Oh, I get so mad.
I know, because she's
I don't like to hear stuff.
She's like the sweetest person. Angie's the sweetest person that's never said a bad thing about anybody, and then you get people attacking her. That's just ridiculous. I mean, and she don't have to, she don't have to share what's going on. She could have kept it personal.
Yeah, well, look what happens. MK Davis is just, and Noelle is just in awe of the way she handles herself with her interactions.
I am too. Hey, I tell you what, she documents better than anybody else out there. Hands down. Hands down, she does.
Well, thanks, guys.
I mean, you do. That's why, I ask you to please start a channel, share this. I mean, you get, not only do you get the best activity, you document it so well. I mean, it's a pleasure to watch. Now, I've learned a lot from you. Yeah, I mean, you're good.
Yeah, not only do you document every single day, a little bit at a time, and the things they're doing right on your property, but you go for walks and you show the signs. You don't have to have a specific room that has not only the gifts that you guys have gone back and forth, plus all your audio, plus all your video, but you don't have to have a room full of footprints. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have hair samples and everything else. Yours is different than Meldrum's or whatever her name is, the lady that does DNA stuff. You don't have to be the same way. You're doing your own stuff at your property.
True.
So you don't have to be in competition with anybody. And anybody who says anything bad about your channel, to me, is just crazy, because this is all informative for all of us.
Well, she is so logical about it. Go ahead, Angie. I'm sorry.
If everybody, like, how I interact and how Dee interacts and how you interact, Rick, like, it's all different. So we could learn by watching each other, and it's better if it's different, because then there's more to learn that way. So,
right. Yeah, I've asked you a million questions that you've helped me out with on stuff. I mean,
You've helped me too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're one of whenever I first came online, you're one of probably the first person that I got up with, because, we was in that certain group and asked if anybody else had them around their house, and they put me in touch with you, and man, we hit it off from the start, and it was mind blowing to me. It really was mind blowing to me that, hey, this is happening to another person. I'm not the only person this is happening with. And I mean, it's basically why I started my channel, because, there's other people out there that this is going on with, and they have no clue what's going on.
Lots.
I was blessed to meet Angie. I mean, I'll tell anybody. I don't care. I was blessed to meet her because she's a wonderful person.
Angie's blushing.
It's funny you can see me now.
She's probably fixing to take a stick to me or something. But yeah, I mean,
I feel the same about you.
Well, I mean, I try to gravitate towards good people. I mean, I've met all kinds of good people, but Angie's the first, basically, online. Like I said, Jack from the BFRO. Oh, yeah, we had a long conversation. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I mean, I didn't know anybody. I figured it was possible. Other people's got them around their houses and stuff. But then to talk to somebody about it and say, well, man, that happens here. And I mean, it was awesome. It was a big relief, basically. I mean, it's good to get it off your chest. I mean, and to share with other people that's in the situation. And I know 5 years ago, I'd been like, man, you're all crazy. There ain't no booger mans around your house. You know what I mean? Until it happens to somebody, I mean, they just don't know. I mean, you can imagine it. I mean, but until it happens to you, you just don't know.
Do you know what it took for me to share? For me to share my face-to-face, do you realize how long it took for me to actually tell somebody about that?
How long?
It took me long enough, because what I'm saying is, because you feel like an idiot. You feel like you have to deal with it, and then after you deal with it, then you have to be able to say to somebody, I did. I really did. And, with all the signs and all the noises and the footsteps and, the shadows and stuff, it's all, but the minute you see it, you have to turn around to that same group you've been talking to and say, I finally saw it, I mean, it changes everything. And it's exciting in one, but in another, it's heavy, I mean, it weighs on you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like for me, it's been going on a little bit over 4 years now. The first 3 years, man, was just me trying to figure it out. Well, I guess really the first 2 years, and then whenever I got online, and then, I started talking to people like Angie, and then sharing that, then it wasn't, I don't know, how long did we talk, Angie, before I started my channel? 3 or 4 months at least. About 3 or 4 months, I think. But, yeah. And then I mean, I just thought, well, man, it was a blessing to share this with somebody else that it's happened to, and that's why I started mine.
I'm a Snow White and Woodburger Farm addict. I mean, I get on my YouTube and I see that little bell going on. I'm like, woo, one of the two. One of them's either live or Snow went ahead and uploaded another video. And my husband thinks I'm crazy, but it's I can't wait to see it. I love listening to what you say. I love it when you go out there, Rick, and you're showing these little small videos that you're, and that's a lot of work. You do it in between your work, you do it on your break. So when you should be doing something else, you're out there in the woods. You're showing us the area, the pictures, what your finds are, the gifts. You leave your phone out there, and we get to watch stuff and listen to stuff. I mean, nothing's better than that unless you're there. It's awesome.
I love it. I mean, I love for other people to experience what's going on. Just just show what happens. I mean, my biggest hope is that it helps somebody. I mean, it really is that, that maybe I might get something right, some kind of right information that it clicks in somebody and they think, well, yeah, that's what's going on here. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's all well and good, but you're still addicted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. To be honest, I always went out in the woods. Always. I mean, either mushroom hunting, berry picking, deer hunting, whatever. I'm always out in the woods anyway. Now I just got another reason to do it.
Yeah, that's how I discovered that we had Bigfoot on his properties, because I went out in the woods. I always liked that too.
Right. Well, see that, yeah.
They like that. They like people that like to be in the woods.
I think so. Because, we're more like them, I guess. But, you like to go mushroom hunting. Like, Dee, you like to mushroom hunt too also, don't you?
Oh yeah, and I'm showing the grandkids which ones are poisonous and which ones are safe to eat, and that's a lot of work right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're really smart on the natural herbs and stuff. So
yeah, I show them what plants they can just stick in their mouth as we're walking down the trail. I teach them to always carry a small amount of water, and if they're thirsty, it's hot outside, just pick up a pebble and rinse it off real well and stick it in your mouth, and it creates saliva. I mean, we do all kinds of stuff in the woods. But it's a lot of fun. It's these things these kids never learn anyplace else. So when they're watching you guys' videos and they're seeing stuff out there, they're picking out stuff on your property. Snow, let me tell you something. My granddaughter was watching one of your videos, and she saw some of the toys, and she goes, wait a minute, and she ran next door, and she came back, and she goes, look, Grandma, I got one. She goes, if I put it out, she goes, you think they'll come take it?
Aww.
She loves your videos, absolutely loves your videos.
That's how my niece is. My niece is like that. She loves Snow White's videos. She did whenever Angie first started her channel. I told her that she was the real Snow White, and she believes she's kind of outgrown that now. But they love her videos.
Oh yeah.
They sit stuff out on their porch, as a matter of fact. But
really,
yeah,
great way.
I don't think they've got any activity. They don't have the patience.
One of the things I like about. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the things I like about having a channel is sharing the stuff that's happening with people that appreciate it, because you tell your family, and even Jim, which he likes it too, but it's not the same as people that, I don't know, are having an interaction like you are. You know what I'm saying? Like you, Rick, or Dee. They totally understand. And it's just good to share that.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And I mean, Jim's the first person I share stuff with. And he's starting to enjoy it almost as much as I do. But he just, it's just different than people that are really into Bigfoot, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. My husband was a non-believer, and used to laugh at me all the time, and my whole family thought I was kind of crazy. And my son says, Mom, the only reason I'm sitting here listening to you is because I know you're not going to lie to me, and my family knows I don't lie. So That's the only reason that they believed. And then when I started making the videos, even my son says, Mom, he goes, can you come back and look at this? And I said, what? And he goes, I'm watching the video. He goes, what the heck is that? And so I giggled and I said, you need to come out there. He goes, I'm scared to come out there. But my husband has never seen one, but yet he can sit in the trailer and slap my hand and say, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I mean, he knows there's something out there. He's just never seen it yet, and he's no longer laughing at me, about it. He doesn't make fun of me anymore. He doesn't tell people, oh yeah, she's into Bigfoot stuff. He doesn't do that anymore. He says, no, my wife has seen one. He said, they are real. So he now defends me where he didn't do that before because we've spent so much time up there. So that part's changed, but the rest of my family, they're still giggling. They think I'm crazy. They think I'm just old and bored. So, but I promise you, they won't go up to the mountain. They won't spend the night up there in the RV. They don't like my tenting. They don't like when I tent. They won't go up there. Camping. Their idea of a camp out is in a motel. So everybody's different.
My mom, she's really interested in it, but she's in her 80s, so it's not like she doesn't get on my channel and watch and stuff. But she loves to hear about it. But my oldest sister she gets creeped out by it pretty much. She believes me and everything, but she just gets creeped out and doesn't really want to talk about it too much.
Oh, I can
My
imagine.
other sister, she's a little more interested, but I just don't talk with them about it a lot, so it's just how it is.
Well, at least you have some people to talk to, right?
Yeah.
And that's good. Yeah. I can't wait for you. When's your next video coming out?
When the month is over, I'll put another one out.
Whatever.
Uh-huh.
Whatever, I can't wait.
I can't wait to get this boot thing off and get back in the woods. That's what I can't wait for.
Yeah. You feeling okay?
Yeah, it's getting better.
Good.
He said I can get rid of the boot on the 5th of March, so.
Yay!
I'm
happy for you. So, Rick, are you going to go out there or is it raining?
It's not raining yet. I went out today. Well, of course, I didn't talk about that, but we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, but I think it's just supposed to be it's warm here. Is it in the 70s today? And I think we're supposed to have showers tomorrow, so I'll be able to get out a little bit. But I bought some material to do my remodeling today. So if it rains, I'll be doing remodeling. Start on it. But what do y'all think about disclosure? Like if the mainstream disclosure.
You mean like they're hiding stuff? You mean, or what are you saying?
I mean, what if the mainstream, the government or the media or whatever, told people, like tomorrow, you woke up and it was on the news that, hey, Bigfoot's real. What do you think would happen?
I think people might get a little more interested in it for a while, and then it'll probably just kind of go back to the way it was. There might be a few crazies out there trying to catch one or something, but.
Right. I can agree with that. Do you think there should be disclosure?
I don't know. What do you think, Dee?
I think I need to stay out of this conversation.
You had something to say about it on chat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, that was for our ears.
Well,
the subject just it can go either way. It's either straight up or straight down. I don't think there's going to be a happy medium. So I will just stay out of the conversation. Just have at it.
Yeah, I think it could go either way too.
It's hard to predict.
Right. But there's people out there that would want to do them harm, And, there's people out there that would love to know for sure. A lot of people can't really think for themselves. They have to be told stuff. I mean, I'm just going to put it like that. And they have to be told. And that's just the way it is today with all the mainstream media and all that. I think that we're being lied to about a lot of stuff. And I think it's been happening for a while. But I think if they do have disclosure, there will have to be rules put in place beforehand. They need to get ready for it, because I think there would be a lot more people wanting to look for them, and I don't think that would be very helpful. Because if you get a bunch of people going in the woods, then it could turn ugly fast, like we was talking about earlier. Some people ain't going to know when to back off. All right, some people's going to go out there armed with bazookas or whatever and try to do them harm. There's monsters in the woods, pitchforks and torches or whatever. But then there's people like us that already know that, I don't know. It could go several different ways. I don't know if it would be good or not. I honestly don't.
Yeah, I like what Tater said. Honestly, people would treat it like a trend and forget it exists because it's not something that affects them every day. And I will agree with that on the good end of it. I 100% agree on the good end, because there are a lot of sheeple out there, people that just follow whatever the trend is. And
that's what I was saying.
When something better comes along, they move on. But I also agree we have now we have a larger Bigfoot community. So I just think that's where the little twist could be, is right there. Maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, yes, absolutely. I believe it would be no different than people out there with their aluminum foil caps on their heads, thinking the aliens were getting into their heads. And yes, that's a trend, and it comes and it goes, and blah, blah, blah. And I agree with that. But today things are different. We have a lot more media. We have a lot more interaction between, groups of people. And I think what Tater's saying is right, and I think that's on the low end of it. On the opposite spectrum of it, I think there's a lot of stuff that can happen that we would wish we wouldn't have opened up a can of worms. So, and that's all I'm saying. I'm done.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be a trend for the main group of people. People would be interested in for a month or whatever. And, today we've got all of our toys, and you can go and get off on something else the next week. You know what I'm saying? But there's always going to be a group that's going to go out there, and they're wanting to, that will be interested, will stay interested in it. There might be some that's wanting to go out and bag them on for whatever reason. And, I don't think it'd be that good, really. Yeah. Overall, I don't think it would be that good, because I think people and boogers both could get hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe
I agree.
people.
But one thing that has changed in my mind about people going, like, I used to be really worried people would come here and try to find my Bigfoots and kill them or something. I don't want that to happen. But actually, I mean, they're so good at being in their home, in their woods. I mean, we don't see them, so good luck finding them to shoot them. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Okay, but listen, I've heard stories.
They're going to have a hard time.
I've heard stories like down in Gatlinburg that the boogers were running wild, all right? And they was running and messing with people and running through people's camps and, all this stuff. And the way they got rid of them and I've heard this from different places, this has happened, but they had special forces. And you can talk to some Army guys say that they've done this and they've heard about this, but they go in there and run them off and hunt them or whatever. So if you flood the woods with people, all right, these things are going to have to move. When they're moving and in a hurry and there's people everywhere in the woods, somebody's going to see them.
Not only someone's going to see them, not only someone's going to see them, but I think that's when people are going to get hurt.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Did you happen to read what Tater wrote?
About his tinfoil hat?
Caps are leaked Army technology that keeps the aliens out. I got mine on right now. Tater, you are too bad.
I think your tea and caps are leaking.
Yeah. I think something got rust.
But yeah, anyway, I think it could go bad.
Yeah, I think it can go either way, and I'm not sure, but, gosh.
But, what I think is if people are interested in this and people having stuff happen around their house or people that go camping and stuff like that, that's outdoor people anyway, ought to know that this is out there. They know grizzly bears are out there or, mountain lions are out there, and you take precautions for stuff like that. That's why I pack a gun. It's not for the boogers. It's for other things. Coyotes, wolves, whatever.
Daggum.
Yeah. Don't you be shooting no wolves, boy.
Hey, if a wolf's coming after me, he's had a bad day.
Oh,
just saying.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Would you become a meal just to feed one? I know you're a nice woman. No. Come on.
No, mine are controllable. That's why I can say it. I wouldn't eat one.
I'm talking about a wild one. Yes, and they're here in Kentucky. I've seen one here on the farm.
Do you see this blonde hair? Okay, really. I'm just having fun with you.
No, do you carry a gun?
Put it on video chat. We can see your blonde hair.
Oh heck no. Yeah, no, I carry a can of bear spray on my hip. I have a knife in my boot, and I have my 45 in my hip. So.
Right, just in case.
And then when you guys, right, but if you guys watch some of my videos, I kind of forget once in a while to take them with me, but it just depends.
Yeah, that's the first thing I grab.
I have a knife on my side. I usually have another knife with me.
I've literally forgot my camera before I forget Pearl. I mean, I literally had to come back to get my camera, but Pearl is with me. You guarantee that guy don't leave my side.
Yeah, the only reason I'm careful about that is because of my grandkids. Because at this point, they haven't been out there in the woods long enough, and they have never seen me shoot anything, and they are so city-fied that if I shot a boar or something coming at me, I think my grandkids would be in shock.
Yeah, but the great thing about you though is you teach them youngins to be aware. I've seen you do it, and that's the main defense right there is to be aware of your surroundings.
Vicky.
Anywhere you go.
I know. Yeah, they can tell you where they're at almost at any time. I've taught them to pay attention to their surroundings. They know what to listen for. In fact, Gabe was the one when we went on that last outing that he said, "Grandma, do you hear that?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a woodpecker." And as we got closer, we found out it wasn't a woodpecker, but because of the noise, I couldn't tell because of Sandy using she was using a chainsaw, so I couldn't really hear it all that well. And the closer we got to it, it wasn't. It was that mouth, that thing that bears do to warn you. But had it really been a bear, it would have came after us. We were, no more than maybe 15, 20 feet max away from it. So I really thought that might have been Boo, and to back off. But I'll tell you what, he gave us plenty of warning, and the mouth pops got louder as we got closer. So I put Gabe behind me and Elizabeth behind me, and I walked backwards, and they walked towards the camper. But as we walked backwards, Lizzie said, "Grandma, what are you doing?" I said, "Don't ever turn your back on an animal, ever." So she was all excited because now when she walks away from something out there, she never turns her back, and she's 11.
And that's awesome.
She wants to learn how to do this stuff, but I'm very, very careful because I don't want to teach the kids how to, I can teach them how to take apart a weapon with it's not loaded. I can tell them all the mechanisms in it, but I can't teach them actually how to shoot. There's no place around there to practice, so that's why I can't follow through on that part of it. So they have bows, I'll teach them with the bows, but I always tell the boogers, I show it to them. I say, "We're going to practice," and I put up a big, a piece of cardboard, with a target on it, and we practice. That keeps them out of that area. But I won't shoot a gun up there anymore unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, I think it's great that you get kids. I mean, more people ought to get kids out like that. Kids nowadays sitting around in the house, play video games and all that. You know, that's not healthy, number one. Number two, I mean, what? Man, I was always out in the woods, always. Which we only had Atari and Nintendo whenever I guess I was a teenager, but I never really got into that stuff. I was always out in the woods playing.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's old for me, you know. I mean, I was a kid back in the, 60s. I mean, we lived in the city, and I spent all my time down in the metro parks. I couldn't stand playing, except for the railroad tracks. Of course, I love playing on the cars, but any place I could get in trouble, that's where I was.
Back in them days, y'all just had a stick and a rock to play with, didn't you?
No stick and rock. That was my mama's time. And you had to grow up in the country for that stick.
I played with sticks and rocks in my pockets.
I still play with sticks and rocks.
I might find one when I get to your property and throw it at you.
Right. Well, gals, anything else y'all want to talk about?
No, anybody in the chat have any comments or questions or complaints?
And I will say this, you all, we've got something coming up. We're all going to do a meet. Hopefully, Snow White and her husband will be there. But I'm not going to say when or where or anything like that. But we're trying to work some kind of get-together out. And see what happens. Should be exciting. Should be fun.
Yeah, I hope I can talk to Jim.
Yeah, everybody aggravate Jim.
Sure.
I said everybody aggravate Jim. But yeah, we've got so far Lady in the Woods, the squash team, they're in now. They came in today. Sissy, D Doss, Jeremy. Yeah. We got something working out here. So we'll see how this goes, and maybe we can make this, happen again. Should be fun. Hopefully it'll be exciting.
Let me answer a question real quick. Pam, boogers are definitely not hatched. They are definitely born. I've heard them almost scream in the woods.
I've never found a booger egg.
Nope.
I don't know what you guys got going on with the egg thing, but
yeah, Dee's the only booger egg I know.
Whatever. You're the egg. Scrambled egg.
Which came first, the booger or the egg? I don't know. All right. Nobody's got any more questions? Really? Here I've got two of the greatest gal researchers in the world, and nobody's got any questions for them? We must have went over this pretty good then, girls.
Pam has a question. Jen has a question.
What is it?
I could keep talking, but,
Yeah, Pam asked Rick, hatched or born? She wants your answer.
I was hatched.
Okay, Jen says, wait a minute, hold on. Whoa, it's moving. How far do you guys believe your boogers roam? How big are the territories? Oh, no.
I think it depends on the area. Here, I think maybe 20, 25-mile radius at the max. Maybe, different years, like this year, the deer wasn't as plentiful. Last year they was, so maybe they didn't have to travel as much. That's our biggest game we have here. There's elk getting reintroduced into the area. But there's a lot of turkeys. It all depends on the area and how much food is in the area. Like game animals, and then you have, like, around here, there's just all kinds of berry bushes, which that's just a seasonal thing, and there's different nut trees and fruit trees around here. So, yeah, we got bear around here, but not, I've never seen a wild bear here at the farm. Other people have, but I haven't. I have seen their tracks, though.
I've seen bear.
Yeah, they're not in here that thick. I mean, not like down in Tennessee, or even y'all have a bunch over your way, don't you?
We do.
So
I know my boogers go at least 4 miles. Other than that, I don't really know.
How far is the lake from you, Angie?
Like 2 miles. So I'm pretty sure they go down there.
So you think that's the same bunch? And I guess it would all depend on how many's in the clan. There's just all kinds of factors.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that my ranch that I left at my in-laws' house came back to my house, and it's 4 miles away, I'm figuring they at least travel that far. So that's all I know for sure,
Well, see, I go to different areas, and I definitely write down the tracks and stuff, or try to, at least take a picture with the tape line or whatever, mark it on a stick, measure it later. And that way, that gives you a rough guesstimate of how many you got and what areas they're in. And I found a lot of their tall man trails. I think they use a lot of the same trails, not the exact same trail like a deer or something would, but more of a wider trail. They go the same direction in the same areas all the time, is what I'm thinking. But
yeah, I think they might travel the circuit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ange.
Just saying they it seems like, and this is something I kind of learned from Rick, that they seem to travel in a circuit probably and make the way back. Because mine will disappear for maybe 5 to 7 days, up to maybe 2 weeks.
And whenever I say that, I mean as a clan. A single individual they can go wherever they want. I mean, but as a clan, I think they might put out scouts, and then like if they get in my area, they got one watching my place, 1 or 2. Usually it's 2, it seems like, or maybe more. Who knows? But I mean, I found up to 5 different tracks at once in one spot, 5 different size tracks. So I don't know.
The reason I think that mine stay around my area is because look at all the, like I said, I have my property is in the foothills, and there's a lot of area that I believe that they just go back and forth. There's people, it takes me 30 minutes to get down the road just to get to my road, and there's plenty of houses down there, and I just think they make their way, from one area to the next and come back, I mean. And they can do that in one night. They don't have to go too far away, So they have everything they need there. There's a river. There's more than one river. There's ponds. There's lakes. There's cattle. There's wild horses. There's all kinds of game. I mean, there's turkey all over the place. It's just loaded with everything they need, almost like a perfect place. So if they do go someplace, according to Sandy and myself, more so Sandy than me. They might be gone for a couple of days, but they're right back again. The same stuff happens all the time.
That's pretty much how it is here.
Well, see, that's how it is here. I mean, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have the winters that you guys have. We don't have the winters. We don't have all the snow that you guys have that would keep them away. I didn't have any snow this year.
Well, this winter's been pretty active.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, this time last year, you would ask me that question, I would say, well, they're here once every 3 weeks, stay for a few days. Well, it's totally changed now. So, I mean, it's just, you think you get something figured out, and then they fool you. But I think they can hear my truck, and whenever I come home, then they come up here, pay me a visit.
Oh, I think so, too. Hey, Angie, someone asked you in here, I think it was Matt asked, what do you think the attraction is to your metal bowl?
I think just the fact that it's magnetic, because they really were fascinated with that for quite a long time, and they still are. It's like they figured it out.
They think you're using black magic.
Magnetic. Yeah. One of the things, the thing they took today is something new that I put out there that's a magnet, too. So, we'll see what happens with that.
I put a couple of magnets out, and they didn't bother with the magnets. They seem to like the things that make noise more on my property, especially since they know that I'm not there all the time. I'm sure they have a ball with that snow tire too. I mean, that tire that I have hanging up there, it's moved every time I get up there, and I mean really moved, and that's what, maybe 15 foot in the air.
Yeah, that magnetic bowl. One time I went out there, and I remember it was winter, so it must have been last winter. But I had put a bolt in the magnetic bowl, standing up, and they brought a socket that they got somewhere, and they put on top of the bolt that was in there. It was like they were showing us, hey, we figured this out. We know this is magnetic.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool.
Yeah.
Maria asked Snow, what did you conclude from putting up the camera on the front porch? Oh, we all know the answer to that one.
Don't ever do it. That's what.
Which camera, though? I mean, is she talking about your phone or the regular camera?
Well, the camera that I put up was a phone. What I got was an app that you install on both phones, and then it's like a spy camera, and it's motion activated. So it was a phone, but I had it stuck in a cabinet, just looking through a little hole out the window to where my chair is.
But was the camera inside your house?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, see?
Now, how do they know
sneaky
that?
Stuff. They don't like sneaky stuff.
But how do they figure that out, is what I'm wondering.
I don't know. Well, they can see it. You could see it from through the window.
Oh, okay. Well.
So, if they're as observant as they seem to be, they probably just saw it.
Or they probably watched you put it in there.
Well, I did it while it was snowy, and I was like sitting down on the floor and hoping they didn't see me.
They probably just thought you was a big weirdo. That might be what it was. They think you're a weirdo now, and they're trying to keep away from you. Like, what is she doing scooting around on her butt and floor?
Huh?
They're thinking, what's she doing scooting around on her butt and floor full of that cabinet, weirdo?
There's something I wanted to say about that, too. There was in another group that I'm in, somebody made this comment about that they know about boundaries and they will respect boundaries, like that you set and they set boundaries. So I was talking with Jim about this today, and we were saying, well, actually Jim said maybe the fact that you put the camera up was like pushing the boundaries, like pushed them back. See, they were coming up to the porch freely. So maybe that was saying, hey, you need to step back.
Ah, yeah, I see what you're saying. Kind of like my game cameras.
So, yeah.
But still, yeah.
Even though I took it down, they still weren't coming up. So today, I thought, I'm going to put toys out on the front porch, like I did on the back porch, and show them that I want them on my porch, like invite them back. And sure enough, I got activity today. So that theory kind of makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I still think it was the sneaky thing. But like someone just saying, every piece of electronics gives off a signal, and they can detect the signal from the camera. Which I can go with that. I mean, but that don't explain how I can put my phone out. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
Angie. Uh-oh.
This happened the last time. Yeah. She's still on here.
Yeah, it says she's still here. Angie, you there? She's trying.
Nah, she'll come back. But I think it was more of the sneakiness. I think that maybe they can detect an electronic signal, maybe. I mean, I don't know for sure. But that don't explain me putting a phone out and having rocks thrown at the phone or whatever they're doing out there, or putting a recorder out. That's an electronic signal.
Well, yeah, it is, but it's not the same thing as a camera. And for some reason, you put your camera or your phone outside and go inside, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they come right up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's dark. It's dark. There's no lights or anything. When you start putting lights, they don't get real close. They still stay outside that light. They know. For some reason, I don't know what it is, and it's not just electronics. There's something in that electronic. Why?
Yeah, you're back.
Why is it they have no problem with? Yeah, why is it they have no problem with recorders? Because a recorder can't take a picture of them.
I think, yeah, but they don't know that. I mean, they can't. How could they know that?
They know something. They know something.
It's throwing off electrical signal. I mean, that's what gets me. I could almost agree with that. I mean, I could agree with it, but I think it's the sneakiness. I don't think they like the sneakiness.
Well, all right, let's put it this way. Let's say it this way. You go out with your camera, okay, and you're walking all over that property, you're riding your ATV on that property, you got your camera going. And they're still throwing stuff, they're still doing stuff, you're right there, but you're not, and you might get pictures of them you don't even know. Well, why is that? But you set that camera up still, and they don't like it.
Right. I mean, the game cameras, that goes back to the flashes. I think it's something to do with the flashes with it. I think they know something's up with that.
Yeah, because you go all over the place. You go all over the place. Angie goes all over the place. I go over the place. Other people do too. But if you set that camera down and leave it sit, they avoid it. So I don't know why that is. If you have it in your hand and they know that thing in your hand's not going to hurt them, why don't they come walking up to it when you leave it outside at night?
Well, I think
they'll come behind it. They don't want to stand in front of it, but they'll come up, behind it. They'll make all kinds of noise. They're not acting like they're quiet. They're noisy.
Right, but what I'm saying is she put a camera up in the cabinet and was being sneaky about it inside her house, no less. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, and that's the problem. We don't know. I mean, we can only have theories on it.
Absolutely, we don't.
I mean, it's good to discuss and to think about and to, try to hash it out. But I mean, we don't know.
we won't find out unless we can ask one.
But I think it's awful funny that I can put a game camera out here and that keeps them away from certain areas. I can put, and it works off an hour. I can put a motion detector out there and it throws out an hour. And whenever that beam is broke, that's whenever it does the signal, but it don't flash or anything. I can put my camera out there, and they'll come out there, and, we've heard them walk around out there, throw rocks or whatever, hit the house, all kinds of stuff at night. I can put a recorder out there and catch all kinds of stuff.
But you don't have it in your hands.
No, I don't. I don't have the game cameras in my hands either.
That's my point. They're left. That's the part I don't get.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't get it either. I mean, I think that they know that I'm not going to hurt them, or or you would hurt them, or Angie, or
Well, it doesn't make any sense if you have it in your hand and they know you do, and they don't stand out in front of you, or they don't come up and make a bunch of noise, but they're running around the woods doing what they normally do. But then you turn around and you leave it sit someplace and walk off. They throw pebbles, they make a bunch of noise. They don't stand up on the camera. Why is it that they?
Well, I've had them throw rocks while I'm filming. While I'm filming, I have the camera in my hand. I've had them throw rocks, trees fall, all kinds of different stuff.
Right, but they act completely different when you leave that thing sitting. There's just a difference there. Not completely, but there is a difference there when you leave something sit. I think maybe you were walking with it, so they knew it wasn't going to hurt you, so they get used to it. And if you leave it out every single night, do you think they'll start coming up and touching it or something? What if that was an experiment that we did? Put the phone out every single night, okay, and see if they would eventually get used to it. In the dark, like you normally did, I bet you'd see shadows. I bet you they'd come closer. I don't think anybody's tried that, have they? Putting the phone out every single night.
Well, I mean, I do it quite often. Like I'm hooking up lights. I mean, that's one of the things I'm going to try to do tomorrow. I was away from the house today, and I couldn't do it today, but I do have the other motion light, and then I've got another light up there, and I'm going to try to introduce a little bit of light at a time, see what happens. I mean, if the activity quits, then I'll take the lights down. I mean, that's all there is to it. But I don't know. People buy lights just for boogers to keep them away from their house. But the lights I've got are not real bright. You know, I don't think they're going to get bright lights, but it don't seem to bother them. Like whenever I had the lamp in the window and had the lamp on and we could see a little bit out there, they was still doing stuff then. They was hiding behind bushes. They're still, you know, they're still hiding. They're just, I don't know. It's just something we have to work on, I guess. And I mean, that's a good idea you had, leaving something out every night. But and you know, I've got plans for that. But I don't know. We'll see.
So now, are you going to get off of here and go live?
No, it's your turn.
I can't. There's nothing here.
I guess I need to call my daddy back. I don't know. I'll probably walk outside if anything's going on. I might do it.
Yeah. I will say this, you know, for people talking about the lights, they don't seem to have a problem with the green lights. I have a flashlight that has a green lens on it, and I can go out there and they don't seem to run off or shake trees, or they don't seem to get angry with the green light, but they certainly don't like those white ones. I haven't tried the red one yet, you know, but...
Well, I've got the motion light underneath my driveway. Whenever I pull in the night, it'll come on, or if Bailey comes out, it'll come on. But I've had Bailey and the cat in the house, and it'll come on. And I think they're out there fooling around with it. I don't think, you know, a big bright street lamp, you know, they're not going to come by. But if you've got like the light coming out my window from the lamp or whatever, just a little bit of light. I'm not talking about lighting up the yard. I'm just talking about a little bit of light. I just want to see a little bit better and maybe keep introducing a little bit more light here and there just to see what happens. I mean, I'm all about doing experiments, seeing what works and what don't work. And if it don't work, I won't do it. But I mean, I'm not going to do anything sneaky. You know what I'm saying? The light is going to be, you know, I'll put it up where they can see it and they can get used to it. And we'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of the times back whenever they would slap the outhouse, I'd have these porch lights on, and that light would reach down to the outhouse, and they would still smack it. I mean, that didn't bother them.
I can't imagine being in the outhouse and having a booger slap the side. I'd freak out.
Well, you probably wouldn't have no trouble with a bowel movement, would you? You'd be in the right place. I guess we lost Snow, didn't we? Are you back on here, Angie?
No, I was trying to get her back, but it says she's unreachable. We had that problem before.
Oh, I see it now. I don't know what happened. Yeah, we had it whenever. I think we lost you the last time, didn't we?
Yep.
Well, Dee, you want to add anything else, or?
Nope.
Nobody's got any questions?
I want you to go outside and go live, so I want you to go live so I can sit here and watch.
I gotta call my.
So we can all.
I gotta call my daddy back.
Our headphones. All right, so we can all get on the phone here. Everybody can get on here and put their headphones on and say, "Oh, did you hear that? Oh, did you hear that?" I mean, we'd love it.
Well, Snow White just said, and she's right. I didn't think about that. They've got that light out there. They get used to stuff. That's what I'm saying. You can introduce something, and they'll get used to it. I mean, but like we was talking about, you know, don't go full blown at once. I mean, you can't do that. You just can't do it. I mean, people's got good ideas. I mean, I don't know. Once a day, I'm asked, why don't you put out a game camera? And I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That they don't work here. They keep the boogers away. They know what a game camera is. But,
yep.
I mean, there's just something about them. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what they are.
Right. Well, Snow's absolutely right. She tried it and it didn't work for her. So I kind of like things the way they are. So
yeah.
I don't.
And we all learn something from that.
Yeah, I don't take even my green light and go shine it in the woods at night. You know, I need it to go from the tent to the toilet area, or I need to go out to my truck to get something. I don't want to turn on the outside lights of the RV. I'll just take the little green flashlight with me, and so does my husband. You know, when he goes out, so we don't use that bright light. We just use a green one because that way they stay right where they're at. They just freeze and they wait until we go right inside. So,
right.
You know, I won't change anything like that, and I don't plan on putting a camera out at night by the RV. I'm good with the audio, and I just have to explain to you guys, you know, what happens the night that I'm inside, because that's where most of my action is. And there is quite a few times when I do go for walks that you can see things in my videos. If you know how to look for them, they're pretty easy to find. and I'm not talking about pareidolia. I'm not talking about the camera movement, because I can step back and forth, and see a black spot and just move just enough for that black spot to turn white, you know, because it's the angle of the, I don't know where the sun's at or something. It makes it look like there's something there, but I have done that repeatedly. I go back to the same exact spot, sit in the exact same place that I am, so you can see when I say, "Oh, look at this," you know, then
Right.
you'll know exactly what I'm looking at, because I don't move. I
And
sit on a rock, and that's why I do that.
that's one thing I
So,
appreciate about you. You go back and you try to debunk whatever you get on there, and I mean, and you're an honest person. And if you're looking at a stump and you know it's a stump, if you're there, you know it's a
it's
stump,
just
and you're going to call it a stump. You're not going to make it something it's not. And I appreciate that about
yeah,
you.
yeah, well, that's the way most people that I'm listening to and watching on the videos. There's a lot of us that are doing the same exact thing. You can go back and look at it. What I have a hard time with, and I'm not talking about people that go out to have to drive 2 hours to a location, you know, just on weekends, because that's when they're off work. Because, you know, you can go back 2 weekends later, and something could have changed, and find that exact same spot might be pretty hard to do. But in a general location like in your area, you walk it so many times, you know what's there. So if you see a tree down, you look at that tree in all directions, say, well, yeah, that could have been windblown, you know.
Right.
I mean, and I took Lizzie and Gabe, and that great big tree that got knocked over, you know, from what we were looking at and the crack we heard, you know, that Friday that we first got there, we thought that was a tree that was knocked over. And come to find out, when I got to the other side, there was a big, huge line from the top all the way to the bottom of black lightning struck that tree, and it knocked it off in two places. It actually blew it the top off and then busted the rest off. But about 50 yards south of that tree was that tree that got knocked over, and that was a healthy tree, totally free of bark, and it had been cracked probably about 12 foot in the air, and that was impossible. That was not lightning. That was definitely a booger doing that, because, number one, I can't imagine anybody going up that high into a tree and knocking that thing over unless it was a bear. And why would it, without claw marks, why would it be stripped of bark all the way to the top?
Right.
You know? I mean, that's what they do.
Well, the ones I try to be careful about what I call structures, but I mean the ones that look manipulated, and it's especially the weaved ones, which I've got some video of some of that today, some new ones I found today. That's weaved. How did they get weaved? I mean, they have to be helped to get weaved. You know, sometimes trees will go around each other and stuff, but they don't go round and round.
Right.
And weaved, the branches are weaved into each other. I mean, that is definitely manipulated. Has to be.
Right, right. And I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about that, and they say that this is natural, this could have done this and this could have done that. Well, sure, let me put it this way. If a tree fell over just the right way, and there was another tree on the opposite side of it that had to have two, maybe they were attached at the bottom, you know, at the base, but they kind of split. You know, a lot of trees do that, and it happened to have fallen right in between the two. That's just fine. You know, that can happen. Wind can do that. You know, storms can do that. You know, whatever. The horse could have knocked it over for crying out loud if it was dead. But when you see one that is actually twisted in between 2 or 3 trees, I'm sorry, that is an impossibility.
Right.
Either a human did it or a booger did it, because there is no chance in you know where that someone can twist those trees, weave them into each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just can't happen. And because I've got a tree back there that I did take a video of that was weaved in between 4 different trees. Now that's impossible. It did, and they were different. It was impossible. That was done.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
that's
was
what I'm
done.
saying. There's a lot of stuff that's natural out there, and I mean, you know, trees fall and they make certain shapes. I mean, just naturally. But whenever you got something weaved in there, I mean, that's just. I like to study up on them. I mean, I like to look and see what's the chances this happen natural, or how could this happen naturally. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
kinds of structures. My favorite two are the ones that keep getting added to.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something new there.
Yeah, I started thinking that I had someone up on my property, maybe hunters that had crossed over that line, because I was finding these piles, okay? And these piles were just like maybe like I wanted to start a fire, okay? And they were all over in that back area that I walk. and I couldn't figure out what the heck that was. So I thought maybe someone was coming back there and they were going to build a fire there and then change their mind. But then, 15 feet off to the right or 25 feet off to the left, there's another one. What are they doing gathering wood? And why are they building? They're doing it exactly like I do in my fire pit. They're building these things exactly looking like my fire pit, but all over the property. So what are they doing it for? Are they imitating me? Is it somebody up there that was going to build a fire? Well, then why would they not build a fire? So then I noticed that the piles got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger in certain areas, and then I realized some of them, not all of them, they're using as blinds, to hide behind. That one area that I sit in, I off to my right, when I pan the camera, there's a bunch of downed trees. Well, all of a sudden, there's a bunch of little branches from other trees being put on that down tree.
Yeah, that's what happens here.
Back there.
I call them human observation. I call them human observation posts. They do that here. They build them around my house.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So they can sit and watch you and feel like they're being hidden. But again, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, they're no different than teenagers. What makes them think that we won't be able to see them if we have a trained eye? If you're used to being able to see movement in the woods and you're still enough, you'll see out of your peripheral vision, you will see movement more so than when you're walking around or you're camcording or something along those lines. So you're sitting and you're watching or you're just paying attention, and I'm talking and my camera's facing one direction and I'm looking the opposite direction, there's movement. So when I go back and look at my camera, I'm like, aha, I caught you,
Right.
And then the reason for that is because the fact that they're smart, but they are not always smart enough to stop themselves from being seen.
Right.
I think they're well enough. I think they're well enough, smart enough to be able to stand still long enough beside a tree that you won't even notice. You're just going to look right past it because they don't move.
Right.
And I took a survivor course once, and we had a bunch of military guys out there with us, and it was just a small wooded area. It wasn't a big deal. But we're out there, and this guy says, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to find me. And he said, let's see how good your eyes are, in the woods. And he went out there completely, camoed out, and he was laying in this little patch of Johnson grass. And everybody walked in the direction, but the sad part was, I stayed back in the back, and I just sat there on the stump because I was going to wait until they all passed me because they were talking with each other and looking at their phones and stuff. So they left. The guy made a mistake of moving. Right as I walked by him, and I heard the leave, and I turned around and looked at him, and he put his finger up to say shush, and I started having to walk back to the camp. I wouldn't have seen him. I wouldn't have seen him had I not heard the movement because I was at the right place at the right time.
Yep.
You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, so people that are out there and they're looking in the woods and they're searching for things, they can miss it just by talking, they can miss it by, doing all kinds of stuff. But you sit out there quiet, I promise you won't have to go searching for them. They're going to come find you. They want to know why you're not out doing something.
I agree with that. I will totally agree with that. But I will also say that they're very good at hiding.
Do what? Oh, yeah. You got to call your daddy, and then you got to go outside and go online because we're all waiting.
Yeah.
Right, guys? Right, guys? We're all waiting, right? Somebody say yes.
Everybody said they're tired.
Yeah, I know. Now, nobody said anything yet, so. Remember, this thing is delayed, so.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, Dee, I appreciate you coming on, and Snow White, I appreciate you coming on. I hate you left us, but I'm not sure why it does that. I don't understand that. Why it does that? Maybe Tater will help me with that later.
Yeah, Tater's good at that stuff.
But
you need to keep doing this and inviting people on. Let's have other conversations. I love this. It absolutely makes my day when I listen to other people, talk about what's going on in theirs.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why I put out.
You got a lot. Yeah, you got a lot of people in chat that have a lot of really good ideas and really a lot of good things to say.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of good people that come here often and leave comments and stuff like that. I love it. Because, yeah, they do have good ideas. I mean, but some of it, like we was talking about earlier, you have to take slow. But then, I mean, some things you just don't think about. Somebody else does. And it's just good to share.
Yeah, it is.
But,
okay,
Dee, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I'll call Daddy, and then maybe we'll see what we can do. I'll walk outside.
All right, Tater said he's going to hook you up.
All right, Tater, I'll get up with you, brother.
Woohoo.
Everybody else, I appreciate y'all stopping by and listening to our crazy butts talk. We might have figured something out. I'll probably forget about it tomorrow. Oh well. But I love you, Snow. I love you, Dee. I appreciate y'all.
All right, God bless you guys. Bye.
Yep. Everybody, y'all have a good night.